Everybody, this is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here a while, welcome back. Thanks to all of you who commented on the interview I did yesterday with Anthony Parada. He from AP Astrology. He's just a wonderful young man. I love having him on, and I will have him again on in the new year to look at what's coming in for us then. But he's terrific. And if you didn't catch the video, I hope you will. And then also check out the show notes for information on how to contact him. He's a treasure. So I have just a few things for us on this Friday. First, a little housekeeping note. Um, so I commented on the meeting of Harry with his father Charles. Prince Harry is who I'm talking about, and King Charles. And a lot of people had a lot of things to say, which is fine. However, when I note people talking to each other in my comments, if I think that the tone has gotten a little bit um, discourteous, I will comment on it or delete what I need to delete. I am the arbiter of what constitutes discourteous conduct on this channel. You do not have to agree with me, but whether you agree or not, I am the decider on that. So I just want to make that clear. Part of me was saying, oh, maybe I shouldn't even read on this because people are so heated, having opinions one way or the other. But that's not going to impede whether or not I read on the subject, just so you know. What will be impeded is discourteous conduct when you're talking to each other. And yeah, I am the arbiter of that. Okay. So, speaking of, apparently the meeting went very well. They had tea together or lunch or whatever they had. And there is talk of a rapprochement, which means a thawing in relations, a meeting of the minds and understanding, and perhaps a return to royal life. I saw the other day, I looked at that and I saw that there was some desire on the part of both of them for it to be some sort of part-time return. And I saw that certainly Charles wants that. I think Harry wants that. I mentioned that the firm would have issues with that. But things have had a little time to settle. And I want to know whether there, in fact, will be that rapprochement and whether or not it will include Meghan. So I'm going to look at, I'm going to use, I think I'll use the house. And why am I using house? Well, one of the meanings of house is it's your family. And so I feel like if I use the house as a significator, I'll be able to see whether there is a drawing together or a coming apart or a staying apart or whether there's any kind of movement around that. And the question, of course, I'm asking is um, moving forward, what will be the nature of the relationship among these members in this family? We already know there's bad blood between Harry and William, so there's no need to let me know that. I'm well aware. Uh, but let's just see what things look like for them. So we will use the house. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it stands for the House of Windsor. Okay. All right. Okay. Remember, we're looking for the house. It stands for the House of Windsor and all of the members of that house, which includes Harry and Meghan. House of Windsor. Okay, so I pulled all the cards that I would pull in my big 23 card spread, and we'll see what we can get. So we have the bear, the woman, the house, the birds, and the fish. That's our line of five, the original line that we're working with. So, I'm going to say that uh, this feels very much like Kate. She's a mother. Megan's a mother too, but Megan is the second card. This feels like Kate. This is the card for mother, but this is also the card for Kate because she has a lot of power in this decision. There was a big falling out, or more than one, maybe between her and Megan. And so I can mirror it with the last card. She has a lot of feelings around this. Now, why is it even being discussed in the first place? A possible, thawing of relations and part-time coming back to the family. Because that family is running out of people. Just saying. The children are still little, William and Kate's kids. And there's a lot of responsibilities that the royal family has. But anyway, Kate has some feelings about this. I think she's going to expect uh, an apology or three from Megan that may or may not be forthcoming. Megan is the second card. In the center, we have the house. Again, that stands for the House of Windsor. And birds. There will be lots of meetings, lots of conversations, not lots of discussions, not just among the Fab Four eventually, which would be Harry and Meghan and Kate and William, not just among them, but of course including Charles. Camilla, I can't imagine what kind of say she has. But the courtiers, right? The men in the gray suits, the firm. There will be a lot of meetings about how this will be coordinated. And again, Kate's feelings will be considered paramount. She is you know, she will be the queen one day. So let's take her card and look at the clarifiers. We have woman, dog, star. I think that this woman, again, is Megan. And I do think they will come to some meeting of the minds. They are sisters-in-law, and I think in the future, Kate will have the say. That will be the nature of the relationship. That will be the dynamic, which will be a hard pill to swallow for Megan as an American, but it's only going to be a part-time situation. But I think moving forward, Megan has matured. She understands the nature of royal life a lot better than she did when she came into the family. It is really a an antithetical concept to the way that an American would think about family relationships and how, sisters-in-law and all of that. It's much more formal vibe there, obviously, than here. And I think Megan will toe the line a little bit more on that. It's just a question of her maturing more and realizing, when in Rome, and that, call England Rome for the sake of the argument. Um, Again, here's Megan. And she's the second card, and the clarifiers are the bouquet, the whip, and then the scythe. Uh, the whip and the scythe are pretty intense cards. So I don't think that there will be what I would call unhelpful premature reconciliation between these two. I think they may need to have it out, Kate and Megan. Privately, just the two of them, nobody else involved. That this is the card for having it out. And it may not be pretty, but in the end, I think it's a gift that the two women give to each other and to the family. We'll see. And if you disagree, you can disagree. These are just cards. I mean, there's no need for, another revolutionary war over this. It's just cards. Here is the House of Windsor, understanding that there is a degree to which they need to transform themselves. This Epstein situation is going to continue to haunt them as much as it haunts uh, Trump because of um, whatever his name is, Andrew, because of Andrew and money, things like that. So the House of Windsor knows it needs some transformation if it's going to um, continue. Transformation of what? Well, of its reputation. It needs a little shining up of its reputation. And also, everybody was heated. I mean, my God, my comments are heated, so I can just imagine how heated the conversations are in the walls of that castle, of those castles. So, cool heads are going to have to prevail in order for the House of Windsor to transform itself in such a way that it can continue for generations to come. Birds, remember, this is the card for conversations and meetings, and there will be all kinds of conversations and meetings about how there could be this um, part-time return to royal life, this introduction of, Lily and Archie. Uh, Clarifiers are the rider, the garden, and the lily. I think it's very clear that the goal of these conversations would be to send a message to the public that we have achieved peace among us. People would love that. We could use some good news. Uh, Finally, the fifth card was, no, almost finally, the fifth card is fish. This is less about money and more about emotion. There's just a lot of, I mean, these are human beings, they're people. Um, and there's a lot of emotion around this. The clarifiers are clover, stork, and fox. Um, so there's emotion. Some people may think that things are moving too quickly. I mean, I don't know. It didn't seem like it's that quick to me, but this can also be luck. If everybody is showing slightly more goodwill than what I've seen in the comments on this subject, that would be a great thing. The stork is about positive change, but I can mirror this fox. And a fox is suspicious. A fox will say, trust but verify, if you remember that Reagan era expression. And I think that that's the way that Kate is going to approach Megan. Okay, you're my sister-in-law, the mother of my niece and nephew. I'm going to choose to trust you, but I'm going to verify. you know, I do think over time there will be a thaw, but for the time being, I think it's that trust but verify vibe for both women, frankly. And then, of course, you've got William and Harry, and they don't even show up here. I mean, they're implicitly here because House of Windsor, as I said in the beginning, implies all of them. Um, I think that will be a actually thornier thaw. Now, I pulled a final three cards, and this is what I like to call the postscript. So, is there anything else I can say in this moment on this question? And the clarifiers are the tree, the ship, and the older man. I think this will actually take a lot of time and will probably be effected, this reunion, so to speak, this return when Charles is closer to moving on to his reward, if you get my drift. Like a dying wish declaration kind of thing, and then everybody honors it. I think it could be something like that. Okay, so that's that question. Uh, Where did I put all my questions? Oh, I have a little notebook with my questions and I moved the notebook. It's right there, but I have to find the page. But that's that on that. And we will see. Again, all I'm doing is reading cards. Doesn't need to be some, you know, again, revolutionary war all the way, all over again. It's bad enough we're on the verge of a civil one, at least cold one. We're in the middle of a cold one. We don't need to have a revolutionary war around this either. Um, okay, so this is me shuffling. Okay, so now I have to go look at my questions and see what the next one was. Okay, the next question. Mm. So I peripherally made mention of Charlie Kirk yesterday in my conversation with astrologer Anthony Parada. I know I also just mentioned him again peripherally yesterday in my Substack. If you've not read that, go over to Substack. It's called In the Company of Cards, and I use Adinkra, which is an African oracle. I use Lenormand, and I also use tarot to bring a message every week in written form. But at any rate, I am not going to wade into the middle of any muddy mess on Charlie Kirk, except to say that I do not think that I would classify his speech as political speech. I'm going to say that I think his speech was hate speech. I will quote John Donne. Um, Any man's death diminishes me because I'm involved in mankind. So it's unfortunate that he died. Uh, I think that it's unfortunate that everyone leapt to conclusions about who was responsible for his death. I think it's unfortunate that HBCUs have had to be on lockdown because of threats when there were no Black people anywhere near this killing. But anyway, uh, I think it's unfortunate that Matthew Dowd made a true statement and got fired for it. I think that we are we are curiously what is it politically correct when it suits us, and I use the word us very loosely. I think people are politically correct when it suits them, and do I think it's ridiculous that flags are being flown at half staff when they were not flown for the Minnesota politicians who were murdered? Uh, I think that uh, I think that guns are and our weddedness to gun culture is a plague upon the land. I mean, I think it's as bad a scar on us and a wound in us as slavery was, and therefore continues to be. But anyway, uh, let's look at the question of whether or not the death, because I'm not calling it an assassination. He was not a political figure. So whether the death, I'll even go so far as to say the murder of Charlie Kirk um, will will what effect will the death of Charlie Kirk have on the conversation around gun rights or gun legislation, gun control? That's what I meant to say. Gun control legislation. We know Charlie Kirk was a big proponent of gun rights. He also articulated that, you know, people dying by gun was just the price that you had to pay for the freedom that the Second Amendment allows for. I guess so, right, Charlie? Where will the gun control conversation go as a result of the death of Charlie Kirk? I think I'll use the scythe and put that in the center because the scythe is any kind of, it's a lot of things, but any kind of weapon used, used in violent acts. So I'm looking to see, will Charlie Kirk's death have an effect on the conversation around gun control? I mean, I don't even, when I say conversation, I don't mean conversation. I mean, will it change anything to do with gun control legislation? Because we've talked it to death. We just don't do anything about it. And we're looking for the scythe, which is a blade like a knife, and it's the stand-in for um, guns. Oops, upside down. Okay. Oh, here we go again with the upside down cards. I don't know which ones are upside down and which ones are not. Okay, here we go. Okay, so this stands for guns in our country. Okay, so we have the tower, the tree. This is the gun control issue or the lack of gun control issue, whatever you want to call it, the child and the anchor. I don't think I need to pull more cards on this. I will say that the impression, the vibe that I get from tower, especially mirroring anchor, I just get the image that comes to mind is a spine that is, well, as fortified as mine is by titanium. I've had two spinal surgeries, so I have titanium in my spine. My spine's not going to break or bend because there's titanium in there. This feels like this very stiff-necked um, positioning around this issue that is just intransigent. I mean, the needle ultimately does not move. Um, it's been a long time that this has been discussed. I mean, remember that this amendment was put in place when we had no standing militia. We had no army. Probably didn't have locks on our doors and things like that back in those days. This is as old as time, as old as this country, this issue. Now, child is the fourth card. Of course, we have the scythe in the center. Think of how many children. I mean, if we didn't enact changes with Sandy Hook, what could it possibly take? So there will be some little conversation about it, but in the end, this is one of our two great curses. I think the third one would be the fact that we're convinced of our American exceptionalism, which of course is a myth, which we will be disabused of that myth in short order once these tariffs really start to take effect. But at any rate, in terms of the Second Amendment, there will be no bending on this one. It's very sad, very sad. Okay, the next question, I think I have three more. The next question has to do with the issue that will not die, no matter who gets shot, no matter how many cities are invaded. We know that 47 is now planning to go into Memphis. Is it Memphis? Yeah, Memphis, I think. Whatever happened to Chicago? Do you remember that I read on Chicago a few times and I kept saying, it's delayed, 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 delayed. It's because what I also told you in the cards was true. He is no match for Chicago. Um, Apparently, with Memphis, he will have there's a more welcoming vibe, not from the mayor of the city, who of course is what? Black, but the governor of Tennessee has said, "Come on down, love to have you." So, uh, anyway, there's that. And whatever. I don't want to look at that right now. I did want to just note the fact that I was correct on Chicago. Um, but I want to get back to the Epstein story because there's been a new tranche of emails, and these emails apparently make the case, they prove incontrovertibly that uh, Maxwell prevaricated, lied when she talked to 47's representative, his former lawyer from the Justice Department, who's now in the Justice Department. Uh, when she said, she gave a date for when she said that she and Epstein had sort of ceased contact. And come to find out, they were in contact way longer than that. And there's money and gifts and things that she was tasked with handing out to victims. But at any rate, she lied about when the contact with Epstein ceased. So I've already read on, and I don't think I need to read on again, the fact that she really is in a difficult position. I don't think that I've seen in the cards that he will have trouble, he being 47, have trouble pardoning her at this point. By the way, Charlie Kirk, one of the things that did not endear him to Trump and his ilk is the fact that Charlie Kirk said, "Where are the files? Where are the files? They need to be put online in full for everybody to see. Where are the files?" Uh, so this situation's not going anywhere. I think that it only gets worse for 47. And so I just want to look at uh, Maxwell again. I'll use the older woman for her, and I want to see how things look for her. Will she have to go back to that other prison in Tallahassee, which was apparently very unpleasant? Will she get to stay in her country club prison? Will her stay in the country club prison be short-lived because she'll be pardoned? I think 47 is going to have a lot of trouble justifying to his base a pardon for Maxwell. But that's just my opinion. Let's see what the cards have to say about Maxwell's fate in light of recent revelations. So we're looking for the older woman. There she is. Okay, so this is going to stand for Ghislaine Maxwell. And I'm definitely going to pull some clarifiers here. And I will pull my 3 card postscript as well. Okay, so our cards are the mountain, the dog, Maxwell, the bear, and the lily. So, you know, things get held up for her. Uh, again, and I think it's because of recent information. Uh, this is her lawyer. She's in the middle. Of course, this is 47, the narcissist. But you know what? In this reading, this also feels like 47. 47 has become more and more infirm. He seems kind of, when he's not spewing vitriol, more doddering. And we'll talk about that when I look at the final question. But like an old man, this is the card for an old man. And so the old man is just going to try to put things off. He just doesn't want to deal with it right now. That's what I think. So here's our mountain, and clarifiers are the cross, the key, and the scythe. So, this is her having to sort of languish, granted in a country club, but it's still a jail, prison. Her languishing there, waiting, 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 uh, feeling pain because, she's in prison, thinking that she got her get out of jail free card with the key by having had the conversations with Bland. Is that his name? Bland? Or whatever his name is. You know what I'm talking about. Um, but look what happens to the key. The key gets cut. I mean, I don't think that she is as home free as she thought she was, or as she actually was. I think she kind of was a home free for a while, but um, that door is looking like it's closing, and she knows it. Second card is the dog. Now, this can be the card for attorneys, friends, and the clarifiers are the house, the young woman, and the scales. I think these are the attorneys for the women, the women who were abused. Uh, this is the White House. I look forward to the day when this won't have to represent that, the White House. These are the women, and this is justice. So the lawyers are not going anywhere. They are going to continue to fight for these young women who, they used to be girls when they were being abused. Now they're women. Um, they say they were going to compile their own list, um, are going to and did are two different things, and did and disseminated, put out to us, are also two different things. That's not happened yet. But we know that the ambassador to the United States has been recalled from England because he was on the list. He's in the documents as having been a client, we'll call it, of Epstein. So this is starting to reach, higher and higher. Uh, this is Ghislaine Maxwell, right, in the center, and the clarifiers for her are the fox, the star, and then the young man. So, again, she is too clever by half, and she's thinking that, moving forward, she really thinks that she still has cards to play. I mean, if she didn't think that, she'd be hopeless. And that first vertical line looks pretty bad. But she still thinks that she has cards to play, and I'm sure she does. This is 47. And uh, in his narcissistic garb, not that he ever doesn't wear it, but he's scared. Mice. Who is he scared of? His base. The Republicans turning on him in Congress. He's scared uh, because he gave her this gift. He's scared to give her this gift of freedom, leaving, right? Because I'm sure she wouldn't stay in this country if she got off. Now, there may be state charges that would cause her to be picked up by state authorities before she got to the airport. Um, Nevertheless, this gift of being freed from federal custody, he's scared. He's scared to give her that because then what is he saying, right? What kind of guilt is he owning up to if he does that. Then we have Lily, and you know, again, on the one hand, this is great. It's a card for peace, ease, all of that. But when I was going horizontally, it felt like the doddering old man. The clarifiers are the letter, the garden, and crossroads. This is the doddering old man. As more and more and more evidence comes out, the public will turn on 47. And I can mirror this last card with this first mountain, and then that will tie his hands, and he will feel that he can't do anything else for her, her being Ghislaine Maxwell. He will feel that I'm between a rock and a hard place. And if I grant her a pardon or some sort of reprieve, even the fact that I put her in that cushy jail as opposed to the horrible one in Tallahassee, it's a price I can't pay. I'm afraid to pay it because it'll be bad for me. And he's nothing if not self-interested, right? Um, and then I drew that three-card postscript to see if there's anything else. And I have the stork and the sun, positive change. Sun, the best card in the deck. But I really think there will be lots and lots of conversations, heated, hot disagreements about how much more he can do for her without it ruining him and the Republican Party, um, sort of in ways that are that will be permanently damaging. So I think Ghislaine is much less in the catbird seat than she thought she was. She still may have cards to play in terms of information that she has on people who were in Epstein's orbit. For sure, she's got those cards to play, but they're not. I think ultimately it's information she has, but I don't think anybody is going to pay her what she wants for that information. And what she wants, of course, is freedom. I don't think so. I think 47 will think it's too dangerous to do any more for her than he's done. And if people make a big stink about the fact that she's in this country club, he may feel that he may be too afraid to put up a fight to keep her there. She may go back to Tallahassee or somewhere equivalent. She's not in a good spot. Love that for her. All right. My last question for today, the end of the week. My voice is going, so that's why this will be the last question for the day. I'll probably come on Sunday just to, talk about whatever's gone on over the weekend for a little bit. Since I did my Sunday conversation yesterday with Anthony, so please go watch that. Um, so what's with 47's droopy mouth? His mouth was like this, like he couldn't. And he was at the 9/11 memorial service, and it was outside. Melania was there next to him, counting the money, I'm sure, that she got for the appearance, allegedly, entertainment purposes only. He looked like he was asleep and really, as I said before, infirm with that droopy lip. So, how's he doing? How's he doing? I think what I'll do is, well, I'll use the older man card and we'll look and see. Maybe the tree will come up, maybe it won't. The tree, of course, is the card for health in all forms, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. I think that what he thought was that the Charlie Cook murder, not that he had anything to do with it, because I don't think he did, um, would galvanize Charlie Kirk's base and move them more in his favor. But apparently, Charlie Kirk Well, apparently that base was a Charlie Kirk base. They weren't necessarily a 47 base. I think that a lot of those young men thought that Charlie Kirk one day would be a presidential candidate. Somebody else who's implicated just because of the some of the evidence that we've gotten from the shooter is that the shooter may have been a fan of not Kirk, but of Nick Fuentes, which does not bode well for Nick Fuentes. Let me just say, you can look him up because I'm not going to do a deep dive on Nick Fuentes, another not good guy. But anyway, right now, let's just see how 47 is feeling because we care. We care very deeply how 47 is feeling for all the reasons. Okay, let's see. So we're looking for the older man, that will be 47, and we're looking with the intention of getting some information about his health. Here he is. So we have young man, we have the whip, we have 47, we have the sun, and again we have the lily. So I think that there are people around 47, younger men, people like, Vance, Miller, lots of them, who are more and more aware that 47 is really failing. He's an old man. And that means that they are sort of chomping at the bit because what happens to old men in the end? They exit the stage so that the young men can take center stage. Second card is the whip. I think there's a lot of arguing amongst these younger men. I'll throw people in there like Rubio. I think there's a lot of arguing amongst the younger men about who should be making the decision, who's in charge, what should we tell 47, what should we keep from 47. He's in the center, and then we have the sun, and the sun is just um, I can mirror it with the whip. I think there's a lot of arguments, loud arguments going on, as I said, as they become again more and more aware. It's more and more clear, especially, with the droopy mouth and all that. 47 is failing. So we're going to go back to this young man card, and the clarifiers are the tree, the scythe, and the house. So these young men are thinking his health is being, you know, um, cut. I mean, this tree, which is the state of his health, gets cut down. What does that mean for the White House? What are they going to do? A weekend at Bernie's, like prop him up in a chair? You know, uh, they're really worried about losing power, these young men. because they see that 47's health is failing. Uh, Again, they're arguing around him. Uh, you have Clover, Crossroads, and the Heart. I have seen something happening, if you know what I mean. Um, Quickly, this is the anatomical heart, and these are things like arteries and veins and blood vessels and stuff like that. So I think there will be a sudden health event. TikTok, to get my drift. Here he is, 47. Uh, and then we have the bear, the woman, and the mountain. I think he's feeling really irascible, meaning agitated, um, angry. I think that's Melania. And I think that people think that she was called in because she's one of the few people that he does actually listen to. But he's being stubborn like a bear, and not doing what he's meant to do, meaning medications. There might be medications he's not taking, or, um, those elastic hose that he's supposed to wear. He might not be wearing those. He doesn't sleep, God knows, doesn't eat right. So he is really, he's a very bad patient, even for Melania. He's unpleasant to be around. Uh, we have the sun as our fourth card, and the clarifiers are the fox, the ship, and the child. I mean, I think it's very clear that there are people waiting in the wings, plotting for how to get rid of him because he's just like a child. For example, a reporter said to him, "I'm so sorry about the loss of your friend, Charlie Kirk. How are you doing?" And 47 says, I mean, I heard him say it. He said, I think I'm holding up pretty good. And by the way, have you seen all of the what's going on with the ballroom? I mean, they've wanted that ballroom for like 150 years, and finally we're going to have it, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be the most beautiful ballroom in the whole world. Wait, oh, what? What? Like, why are you talking about the ballroom? When the reporter respectfully asked you, how are you doing, in the face of this loss? Oh, I'm doing pretty good. And then you start talking about the ballroom. He is in his dotage, as they say, you know, with the lip and the sleeping and the irascibility. He's failing. The fifth card was the lily, and the clarifiers are the bouquet, the stork, and the star. Now, you know what? These are really all beautiful cards together. But in the context of the question, cards wear different costumes for different questions. Um, I don't think this is peace and ease. I think this is him in his dotage. Uh, I think that some people around him consider this a gift, like Vance, and they can't wait for the inevitable because they consider that positive change for their future. How do I know we're talking about people like Vance? Because I can mirror this star card, which is the future, with the young Turks waiting in the wings, like Vance waiting to take over. And then I drew that three-card postscript in case there was anything else to say on this. We have the fish, we have the coffin, and we have the key. Coffin is literally what you think it is. And there's a lot of emotion around this. There's a lot of money tied up in this. Uh, and this happening will set everything else that's coming in motion for good and for ill. So again, it's not going to happen tomorrow, I don't think, but I think October, at the latest November, those are pivotal months. He's not getting better, he's getting worse. And I'm sure the Charlie Kirk killing threw him. Um, I think he feels vulnerable, but vulnerable again, like a cornered rat in a dark kitchen where the lights turned on, right? And all he can do is bare his teeth and squeal. Um, and that can't be good for your heart, right? Or your arteries or your anything. So, and he's surrounded by people that he cannot trust. Again, I love that for him. So, that's it for the week. I will probably come back on one of the two weekend days, without a guest, just me, and we'll see what the weekend brings. So, stay well, keep a cool head, drink your water, and if you talk in the comments, um, I look forward to reading them. All right, you all. See you soon. Take care.